Hello and welcome to another week in the verse, where we take a look at all the Star Citizen shenanigans that have gone on over the past week and give you our opinions on them. So a little bit shorter this week, as we have no ISC this week, or for the next few weeks I think. So just a little bit of Star Citizen Live and some other bits and bobs.
So this week's lore post was about the, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but you know, if anyone wants to correct me, then let me know. It's Gliese system. I think it's pronounced Gliese or Gliese. I'm not sure which one. So this is mainly a Banu system where humanity has kind of settled on a few planets and begun some mining around in the asteroid belts. There's a few planets to sort of take note of, and one of them, actually the Banu doesn't colonise this planet, only humans do. It took a lot of negotiation to get the rights to actually settle on the planet, but Banu will not go anywhere near the place, although we don't know why.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's actually described as a kind of paradise type planet. Which is a bit strange because, as I said, the Banu won't go near it. There must have been a reason a long time ago, but because of the way they treat information and their systems, they don't actually share the details with each other. They just tell each other not to go there. Yeah, it's kind of strange, but kind of interesting. There's a few criminal elements around there as well. There's not much of a governing body sort of policing the area, so you get sort of gangs and different sort of criminal elements popping up around the place. Yeah, it's quite interesting. If you want to know more about the sort of star system universe that will be built eventually, then check it out. Okay, we had a monthly report. This is there was a Star Citizen monthly report and a Squadron 42 monthly report, but they kind of cover the same stuff really. Okay, one thing it mentions is that there was an update to multi-thread for the subsumption system, so that's basically anything to do with the AI. Hopefully we should be getting this in 3.6 and it should give us some performance updates, which is always good.
Yeah, that would be nice.
They've also started developing first select weapon animations. So this is basically if you pick up a new weapon, brand new weapon, you've never touched it before, your character will pull the weapon out and kind of inspect the item before going back to a neutral pose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This probably isn't limited to just weapons. It could be various items, like if you pick up a computer blade or a packet of drugs, then your character might have a little kind of inspection of it. We've seen this in a few other games recently. Doom does it a lot when you pick up a new weapon. And there was another one. Satisfactory actually does it as well when you get a new item in your gear.
Yeah, like the chainsaw or whatever. It has a little look at it. I like that. It's just adds that little tiny element of sort of realism to you going, what is this? That's just cool, you know?
Yeah. There was also mention of transit system updates, so they're going to be updating the signage around transit hubs, and also some of the kind of actual locomotion of it. So we'll be getting more trains on time and less waiting around on station floors.
Good.
I quite like the I'd like to see what kind of extra signage they put up, and if they put like a timetable of approaching trains so you know which gate to head towards.
Yeah, we discussed this actually. It was a post on Spectrum Drama, I think, maybe a month ago, and it was such a good idea. You know, just everywhere does it. Everywhere has a board that kind of gives you an indication of where to go for this, the quickest train or for your train. It just makes sense. So yeah, I hope to see that. That would be really good.
Yep, definitely. Okay, work is also progressing on the Defender and the Prowler. They're both currently in grey box, and hopefully we should be getting those 3.7, I think it is. 3.7. There's also mention of some audio updates done to the UI and weapons in 3.6. We recently did a stream on 3.6 PTU, and we noticed a few differing gun sounds. They actually do sound a lot better. Not all guns, just some of them. But there was a specific pointer towards a specific gun that everyone should go and try out, and that is the Apocalypse Arms railgun. Apparently, the new sound work on that is something to hear.
Right, we'll have to do a little test of that. The next stream we do, we'll go and buy one and pew some stuff.
Oh yeah. They've also completed the Tumble Ranger jackets. They're all done, ready to put in the universe.
Good.
Wonder if we'll get there soon. Not sure if the functionalities. Well, obviously the functionality for the cargo one won't be ready yet, but at least you can wear it.
Yeah, I hope it is quite soon, and I'm hoping that so you get one dependent on the bike you buy, if I remember right.
That's right. Yeah.
And so it would be nice to see those lucky buggers that won the bikes at the end of last month strutting around in their new vests. So that'd be cool.
They're also doing some concept work on the Bounty Hunter. I assume they're talking about Bounty Hunter armor sets. Concepts have been approved, so they're going to start making those. And they've also been working on some new tech for suits and animated helmets. Now, I'm not sure if this means animated as in, like, the visor might lift up or down and that's it, or if they're talking about, bling that's going to be animated, like, flames coming out the eyeballs or something. Who knows?
Well, like an Iron Man style thing that it all just folds away into some imaginary nook on your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool though. The visor thing makes sense, because it'd be really good to, rather than just take your helmet off, like the visor comes up and a bit of the cowl kind of retracts, and then it's more like, them like fancy things that posh people wear, like a big frill around their neck. It'll just look like that.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah. There could be some really crazy stuff, like ears that move, or actual kind of mechanics of the helmet that you can see moving around. It's kind of interested to see what they come up with for that.
I wonder if they're going to have like a dildo helmet.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep. Just you got to cover all the bases.
Okay. One piece of really big news that was in this update letter was the initial test runs for server-side OCS are complete.
Good.
This is just the initial tests, so we probably won't see this for still a while. I'm kind of hoping we get this in 3.7. 'Cause I still firmly believe that they're going to need to put this in before Microtech goes in the PU. Just server issues.
Definitely.
So hopefully 3.7, but I would not be surprised if it got delayed until end of the year.
Yeah, I can see that being a thing. I mean, it's such a big implementation that I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as just turning it on. But like you said, I mean, I think that that's going to have a knock-on effect. So we probably won't get that until the end of the year, which means the things that might be on the roadmap now for like 3.7, 3.8 may get pushed back to like 3.9 or something, just because they need this to work. So it could be dire, but we'll see. We'll keep our hopes high.
Yeah. The other side is they could keep it back to be kind of coincide with the CitizenCon presentation. Maybe.
Yeah.
They might just do that.
Yeah, chuck out kind of thing. Yeah, be a good thing to demo.
Okay, lastly on the monthly update was they've started some concept work for the new MFDs in ships. No actual word about what they're doing, but they are doing something with MFDs.
Good. Need it.
I mean, it's not.
They really do need it.
Well, yeah, it needs. They need to expand on it a little bit. I think the actual system for the MFDs I don't find too bad right now. I think there's other more important things to get done. But I know a lot of people do have issues with the MFDs. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it really isn't game breaking. It's really more of a preferential thing, and I think everyone has their own varying opinions on how they feel about them. I think that they do need work, but I think that like you said, it's the kind of work really where it can just be done when they've got a free space somewhere. It really isn't going to impact one way or the other for most people.
No, I think the actual main HUD itself is a bit more important and squashing other bugs. But
definitely,
improvements are always good.
Oh yeah.
So as you said, there was no Inside Star Citizen or ISC this week, and probably won't get one next week. But we did have the Star Citizen Live, which was actually kind of good. It was more geared towards ships. They didn't really kind of present any new ships. It was just questions. They were taking questions from the audience. So one of the first ones that came up was weapon range. Currently, we are set to a set range for weapons, but as new ships or bigger ships are introduced into the game, those ranges are going to be increased. Someone did ask about orbital bombardment, but that's kind of tricky. But yeah, as John Crew rightly said, it comes into a lot of factors about the size of the planet's atmosphere, what guns you're using, what ship you're on, all that sort of thing. So it'd be kind of interesting to see which ships can do it in the future, but again, not really a priority right now.
No.
They also mentioned the 3D AR landing assist, kind of like what we had in 2.6 or whatever it was. They want to bring it back eventually, but it's a little bit tricky because the original version was kind of sized to a specific landing pad metric, but now landing pads are all kinds of different sizes and shapes, and you've got landing on planets which don't have a designated landing. So it takes a bit of work. We did kind of talk about that recently in a Spectrum drama, and now we have kind of an answer as to why it's not in.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they've now officially said it is happening, because there was so much speculation over this, and they've always said that they want to put something in, but they've never really told us what it's going to be, and at least now we've got kind of a definitive, it will be that kind of, 3D representation of the outside of your ship. That's going to just make, especially with the new hover mode and all that stuff, it's just going to make things so much easier to be able to land kind of anywhere you want, really.
Oh yeah. Speaking of hover mode, that actually came up as well. A lot of people have been asking to have the hover mode as a toggle option, pressed by a hotkey or whatever. And they went into the details of the problems they've got with that and potential issues. They're kind of looking at ways to do it properly, and it looks like it's going to go that way eventually, which is kind of cool. I'd prefer to have it as a selectable option rather than it just come on automatically.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I liked the fact that they touched on kind of. This is why this episode was so much better than most of their episodes. Is that I found these guys gave really honest and detailed responses to questions. It was nice to hear them say, this is why you can't have this at the moment. Which you don't get a lot of the times. They go really vague, and so it was nice to hear them kind of telling you the shortfalls that they've got at the minute. But you're right. I mean, having something where you can just kind of toggle it on and off, and give you a little bit more control. Because at the minute, I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen our stream, but let's just say if you forget to turn off your cruise control, you're going to crash. My hover mode was going mental. It was just ridiculous. So yeah, being able to just go, all right, quickly turn it off for a minute until I get myself sorted would save a lot of heartache, I think.
Yeah, definitely. They also mentioned ship armor. Currently there's not really an armor stat on ships, but eventually there will be. And they're, rather than just sort of making it an arbitrary number as like almost extra hit points for the ship, they want to actually put something a bit more interesting into it.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're going to try to separate out all the different phases of damage, you know, so your hull, your shields, and you know, all that, and your armor as well. It makes a lot more sense, because that's the problem a lot of games have, is that you take something like a shield or something, you bolt it onto something, and all of a sudden your hit points go from 10,000 to 12,000. And you think, well, how does that equate? What has that done damage wise? So I like the fact that they've got this, you know, sort of new way of thinking about how the damage is going to penetrate and what kind of damage could get through this. And yeah, it's just going to add a lot more depth to ships, which is what we need.
Yeah, definitely. The Freelancer also came up in conversation. More specifically, it's hover mode, or lack of it at the moment.
Yeah,
they're going to have some problems with that, because, as they rightly said, currently the landing gear is kind of attached to its VTOL engines. Yeah, that's a problem. Clearly an early design problem that didn't get looked at until probably about a month ago, and they thought, oh shit, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, it's such an oversight.
Yeah.
As a Freelancer owner, you know, you look at it and you think, all right, fair enough, in the current state of the game before hover mode, it didn't cause any problems. But yeah, the minute you rotate them, all of a sudden you've got no landing gear.
Yeah.
And I think he pointed out as well that, like, I think in the original video, it would come in with the VTOL thrusters pointing down, you know, and then come into land, and then all of a sudden they'd rotate back round the landing gear, and then they'd land. But that can't happen. That defeats the whole purpose of the hover mode. You might as well not use it. So it was funny to listen to, but it's also sad to think that currently my ship is just not equipped for VTOL.
No, definitely not.
But the future is bright, I'm sure.
Okay, they also had a quick discussion on the whole physics grid problem. So some people will be aware that if you try and put a box inside a cargo hold on some ships, it will just go through the floor. It's just the game's not. It's got a problem with physics grids right now, and it can't decide which physics grid to put the box on, which is why it goes through the floor. Yeah, they're looking into it.
It was an interesting explanation. Again, I like these guys because they give quite detailed explanations. It was interesting to hear him talk about the two different ways that they do. They attach the kind of the physics mesh. I don't know if that's the right term.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, you know, if it's like a centimetre out when they put it down, then the server has to decide, should that be above or below that horizon line of where you've put it. And more often than not, it goes low, and that's why it falls out your ship. And it's just nice to know that that's what's actually happening, you know, rather than just being frustrated going, why? So yeah, it's cool.
There was a question about EMP rockets and missiles. They are looking into it. That's kind of all he's really said about it. And bunks. Now, bunks was a kind of a hot topic a few months ago. It was like a package that they were selling with the Vanguard for sort of different components, kind of like the customization we've got for the 300 series at the moment, where you could buy a package of different weapons and whatever. Yeah, similar sort of thing, but they kind of got rid of bunks, and it caused a bit of kind of uproar in the community because people were paid money for these things, basically. But bunks are not dead; they're still a thing. You'll just get a collection of different items that you can swap out. That's kind of it, really.
If anything, it's slightly better than bucks, because with the buck system, you would have basically attached that item, which is multiple items, to your ship, and you're done. Whereas now you've got the option to pick and choose and mix and match, and it's actually it's going to be a slightly better system. So hopefully people will be happy with it. Yeah.
Okay. Another question from the community was about the canopy glass imperfections, specifically the kind of glare and scratches that you see on your canopy. It kind of obscures your view. Sounds like it's an art thing, and the levels will go up and down because different artists will work on the ship and decide it needs more or less of these imperfections with each one. Kind of annoying. I wish they would just kind of lock it down and then leave it. But hey,
yeah, and he did say, you know, it is also a bug, or multiple bugs. But I think the thing that annoyed me is that this is the one where I think that this is actually much worse than they let on, and they've been quite open and honest throughout the whole thing. And then this one, they kind of glossed over it.
Yeah,
it's a big problem. There are some ships where you literally can't fly them in certain directions because you can't see. It's much bigger problem than I think they realise. And I wish they'd just get their art teams, bang their heads together, and say, make a decision.
Yeah,
you know,
fix it now.
Yeah.
It's a really big problem on turrets as well. Anytime we try and use the turret, we get so much glare you can't even see what you're shooting at.
Yeah, I almost fell out of my chair when I used the Vanguard's turret because it was clear all the way around. The only thing that glared was the sun directly in the screen, but it was clean. And I don't know if that's because it's obviously new and they've decided to actually use some common sense.
Yeah, probably.
Strange. But yeah, they are mostly unusable.
Okay, they also spoke about coolers, specifically the whole overclocking mechanic, because when the heat system got introduced into the game, everyone would just overclock your coolers and it wouldn't overheat, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of it. So now they're looking at doing a mechanic where you can still overclock your coolers, but this could do increase the damage to the actual cooler unit itself or make it misfire, which is a better way of doing it. It needs a bit more depth than, you know, just turning it on and problem solved.
Yeah, I liked it. It never made sense that you had this mechanic where if you pushed your coolers too far, they'd overheat. So you overclock them and you negate that problem. And you think, well, just leave them constantly overclocked because it's not doing anything to the ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, having that misfire issue or some sort of degradation over time of your components makes sense. And I liked he had a really good kind of example, which was the cooler generates heat because it's obviously using electricity using power to run. If you overclock it will use more power, which will generate more heat, which kind of adds to the problem.
Yep.
It's just a funny situation.
Yeah.
So I hope they come up with a really good way to make that useful but also detrimental, or another word that means the thing I'm trying to say.
Risky?
Risky, yeah. I hope they come up with sort of a slightly more risky way to use it because just being able to turn it on was just silly, basically.
Yeah. Okay, they spoke about the Vanguard turret and the turret being able to retract inside the ship a little. That will be a thing eventually, but they ran out of time. And there was also mention of a Vanguard damage state update, so that now if you lose an engine on the Vanguard, you are not dead in the water. You can still manoeuvre, but it won't be as powerful or responsive as if you had both engines. Okay, then they brought up capital components, and that you won't actually be able to switch these out. Well, you might be able to, but it would be very limited and time consuming to do so, because capital components are kind of bespoke and specifically made for that capital ship. So finding upgrades is going to be very tricky in the PU.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have the option, obviously, to change weapons and change. They do have some size 3 components, I think, on there, so you'll be able to change those out. But anything size 4 is essentially, unique to that ship. And if you do want to change it, it's dry dock, and maybe I really do hope that when he says you're going to have to leave it there for a while, I hope it is a long while. I hope it's like a genuine job, where you have to really think ahead and say, do I need this ship for the next week? Because if not, I'm getting this big job done. That'd be awesome. Yeah, not sure if they'll go for the whole week. That would be cool. Not sure if they'll go for the whole week. You might do like a couple of hours. I don't know. Yeah. Interested to see what kind of time limit they put on that sort of thing. Yeah, could you imagine Spectrum and everywhere else in the world where if they went a week and people are like, oh my God,
rage,
a whole week, what am I going to do for a week? Fly another ship.
Yeah, basically.
Crazy.
Speaking of capital ships, it is now confirmed that the 890 Jump is slightly bigger than they first thought it was going to be. I mean, that's kind of standard for large ships at the moment. Every time we hear about it, some ship is now bigger than what it was before, so it's nothing new. But the 890 Jump is actually so big that you cannot spawn it at Olisar.
No, it will hang off.
Fall off the end.
Yeah. Is it 210 metres?
210 metres long, yes.
Big.
That's
big.
Big.
That's a beast.
That's a huge bitch.
That's a huge bitch. Yeah, I like that, you're going to have two places basically in the universe to spawn it currently, which is going to be Area 18 and Hurston, and that's cool. It makes it just that little bit more unique. So, yeah.
Definitely. But you've also got the problem of getting out of atmosphere at those locations as well. So
that's another week.
That's going to be time consuming. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then someone asked about would it be possible to have kind of traditional aircraft landing mechanic in the game. Not sure why you would want that. Maybe just because you enjoy that kind of thing. But they kind of said it was unlikely.
Yeah, if you want that kind of mechanic, maybe play a flight sim. You're going to get a better experience because, I mean, this is a space sim, and there's nobody would ever craft a spaceship that needed to land like that if they didn't have to, because we know that they can land VTOL and they can land with all their manoeuvring thrusters. It makes no logical sense to have to land with a long runway. It's just it doesn't. It would make your ship useless in space, because where would you land on? They'd have to make space runways, which would take up space, which they don't want to do. So yeah, it's a weird concept, but I can't see that being a thing.
No. Okay, that is everything.
Good. Well, there you go. That is everything. So thanks everyone for watching. We hope you liked all the content this week, and that was a super interesting video. So definitely check it out if you haven't already, and definitely read that lore post as well. Very, very cool. So don't forget to let us know in the comments if there's anything you want to discuss about today's episode. Also let us know if you have watched our Cowcast, if it's something that you like. We're just trying to gauge everyone's response, and if everyone's enjoying it, then we're going to do another one, basically. So let us know. Okay, so that's it, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.